to the record. Okay.
All right. So let me see if this is working. All right. Let me just go to that section. All right. So hello everyone and welcome to this. Oh, sorry. I'm sharing the thank you slide already. Hold on. Mm, let's go back to the very first slide. There we go. Yay! All right. So everyone, hello and welcome. My name is Jikka, and for the first session for today, it will be about training delivery, communicating ideas effectively. So this is not very technical in terms of mapping technology, but it's more of a presentation or a training for you to be able to present your ideas coherently, cohesively, and so that you can engage your audiences better. Um, Miko got in touch with me to do this because we also get feedback about how we want our OSM gurus to develop their presentation skills, to be more confident in front of the audiences, to be less mindful of stutters and things like that. So I hope this session will help you with addressing these issues. So let's see them as challenges and let's proceed. So a little bit about myself. My name is Jika and I'm a volunteer from the Philippines. It's very nice to meet you all. I volunteer mainly with OSM Philippines, community building and organizing some events. Currently, though, my full-time role is in marketing. I work in the private sector. So, yes, a lot of my work is actually proprietary, but in a way, I'm able to bring in my communication skills, my event management skills. It involves presenting to news media and the press and making sure that we get out the right information, making sure that we stage good events, and then our audiences are interacting with us. So, in a way, that kind of helps balance out the work. And then I got involved at HOT through the HOT Philippines before. So I previously worked as the communications associate, and I am currently also a voting member at HOT. Before HOT, outside of that, I also work in advertising as a project manager for some brands, in publishing as part of the editorial staff for previously for magazines and news media. And sometimes I also work as a TV and events announcer. So I'm definitely confident that I know a couple of things when it comes to building an engaged audience, making sure that the audience feels comfortable. So I hope that you are all comfortable right now. Let's keep the session casual. Feel free to ask questions. Just click the raise hand button if you want to share something, okay? So that's it about me. And I am looking forward to discussing some of these things with you. Now we're going to go over today's coverage. First, we will identify common training delivery challenges. So, what is it that people find difficult? How can you prepare? And how can you speak confidently in front of your audience, whether it be a webinar or an in person event or in person training delivery? Next part, we will try to address these challenges and I'll be providing some tips to assist you with that. And finally, it's not as much impromptu because I already wrote here impromptu, but we'll have a speech activity. So I am going to call on some volunteers from the audience. Don't worry, it's not going to be too difficult. I'm sure you'll enjoy this part. I hope you will enjoy this part. So it won't be too difficult. Let's keep it light and casual. So, going back, our first part for today is identifying the delivery challenges. What are the issues that we encounter? So, first part, I want to ask you, and feel free to reply in the chat, what are some of the common challenges that you encounter? I want to see. Actually, I joined with my phone. So, anyone, you can also raise your hand. Feel free. Mm, no one from the audience. Can we call on? I'll call on some of the people from the audience. All right. Oh, can't put words into ideas from Ruth. Okay, thank you, Ruth. Yes, I agree. Very difficult. Sometimes you find it difficult. Not everyone is in the same channels. Also true. From Ralph, I've also added, actually, I've compiled here a list. So you might be able to relate to some of them. Let me go on to this part. So people sometimes stutter when they're giving out their trainings. Sometimes the training language that is required for you to do is not your first language. You also sometimes including me, we encounter mental blocks. Sometimes you lose focus because of a technical glitch or an issue in tech. Sometimes your um, microphone battery is out, or your presentation just stops in the middle and there's an animation ongoing and you no longer know what to do next. Or sometimes the crowd is not engaged. So these are common issues that can help you lose track of what you're presenting, or that can, you know, dampen your spirits, maybe make you feel less confident. But don't worry, because everyone goes through these things. So we will try to address them. And the way that I try to group them in my head is to see them as either cultural barriers or preparation issues, because finding a solution involves identifying what the issue is. So, first, I'll go over the preparation issues first. Sometimes you encounter a technical glitch and it causes you to lose focus, or you just get general jitters and anxiety before, during, or sometimes even after your presentation. It's still difficult for you to recover, right? So, another cultural barrier wise, the training language is not your first language, or the crowd isn't as hyped up as you would want them to be. So this also matters, because I think a lot of people some people want crowds to be quiet the whole time, while others would want their crowds to ask questions consecutively. So no worries, these are all challenges that can be overcome. We also have stuttering and mental blocks, which I put in the middle. So it's either cultural or preparation. These things can happen, but there are ways to resolve them. Generally, before we go over the tips, I want you to remember that they're overcome best by remembering that you know your presentation best. There's no other person in that room at that certain time. When you're delivering your trainings, you are the best person to deliver that training at that certain time, at that certain moment. Whether other people have presented that topic in the past, at that moment when you're presenting, you're the one driving the conversation forward. You're the one who shapes how that data, or how that presentation, or how that concept can evolve in time with how you are presenting it. So you have to remember self confidence. You know your presentation best. So for the next part, let's go over how we can address the challenges. The key here really, I believe, is to prepare and practice. No matter how good you think you are at winging it. Of course, I can wing it. It's just a presentation. I spoke about it at so many conferences already. People have that mindset sometimes. But the key here is to always prepare and practice. No matter how good you get at your job, no matter how good you get at presenting, always prepare and practice. So I also wrote here some tips. First, you can write your script or program flow that can match your slides. So usually when you have your proposals or presentations or training modules, you create your visuals to match whatever it is that you want to talk about. Now, sometimes in the middle of that, you tend to forget the words that match your slides or your visuals at certain times. The way to address that is by preparing beforehand. Write your script or your program flow. At this time, I'm going to talk about this part. At this time, I'm going to talk about this part. While this video is showing, I'm going to take a few moments to breathe in, breathe out. And then when it stops, then I can carry on with whatever it is that I want to talk about. So that's very important. Next part, when it comes to preparing and practicing, is to record yourself presenting your presentation, especially if you're doing it for the first time. Like it's a proposal that you're submitting for the first time, and you're presenting it for the first time. Record yourself presenting it, and take down some notes. So, for example, what can you improve about it? Common things I would ask myself when I review the presentation, and it's a real problem. Some of us find it hard to watch ourselves after we present. We don't like hearing ourselves talking, but it matters when you want to improve. So, some things I would ask myself, am I saying this repetitively in a certain tone? Like, for example, write a script, program flow that matches your slides. It's all going up. So it doesn't feel as organic when you're talking to people. So that's something you can be mindful of. Also, it helps with cultural nuances because some tones might sound too sharp for other people. So it might feel like, oh, wait, this presentation sounds overwhelming. Your audiences might feel that. So mind your tone. Next is body language, and I'm guilty of this. Next part, one of the things that I often do is I roll my eyes whenever I'm trying to think of a certain word. For example, I forgot a word. I would do this. I would look up to the skies and pray that the answer falls on me. That's a common thing that happens. So for some people, they can interpret that differently. So be mindful of your body language. Make sure that you look confident. And a good posture also helps with your breathing. And finally, pace. It's very easy when you're presenting in front of a lot of people that you'll run out of breath. So just pace yourself. Am I speaking too fast? Oh, maybe see when you recorded yourself, right? You get an idea of, oh, if I do this entire presentation or this entire training, it takes me 20 minutes to deliver this topic. Then you have to ensure that maybe there's parts of it that I can cut down so I can just deliver it in 15 minutes and then the rest I can use to as a buffer time in case I need more time to breathe during the presentation, in case I need more time to ad lib and ask people around. So those are some of the things that I like to keep in mind and take notes of when I'm recording myself and rewatching my presentations. And a little note also, if possible, and you have a very long speaking time, for example, it's not um, a lightning talk. Lightning talks usually 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're done. Sometimes you get speaking times that are really long, like you get a keynote speech or you get to train people and the training allotment for you is an hour. Then you can squeeze in some time to ask the crowd some questions. You can also try to squeeze in an icebreaker. So just so people can feel, okay, it's okay, we're comfortable in this room. So yeah, those are some of the tips when it comes to preparing and practicing. Now, I wrote here, you need to have a script or program flow to match your slides. But what does a good script or program flow look like? There's no one certain way to put it, but I do have a guide that I'd like to share with you. You can keep this in mind in your future trainings. So this also works for short speeches. um, so I divide it into three parts, three C's. So part one is context. So the first thing that you want to get over with is tell people about your topic. Why is it that you want to present this topic? What made you want to present this topic? The item and then the cost for the presentation, what good will come out of it, and if you have a little bit of extra time, why are you qualified to present this topic? Next part is the content. So first you have context, next you have content. This is the part that takes the most, I believe. This is where you share your technical knowledge and you can subdivide this technical knowledge as best as you possibly could. So for example, you want to talk about how you gather data in a certain location. Then you might want to um, talk about what kinds of data did you gather, what is the location, what methods of data gathering did you do, who are your team members if you have team members, how did you process the data, what are the practical applications of this data, what challenges did you encounter when you did this whole thing, and how can this training be or how can this study be beneficial for other people in the future? Now, if you're doing a training, I guess part of the content would be have someone invite a speaker to talk about the topic that you're training them on. So, for example, it's OSM, then ID editor. ID editor, then maybe someone who can talk about tasking manager at hot. And then content, more content, then that's when you do your training proper. You can talk about the task that you want to map and have people map. So that's how I would organize the body. Subdivide the body as best as possible. So the more people get to interact, more people get to speak, and you get to know the audiences while you do it as well. And part three would be the closing. So, what is the audience takeaway? If you have time, um, if you have a longer time, you can ask them what is it. You can share with them what is it that you want them to take away, and finally, thank your audience for participating and connect with them. So that's it. Maybe you can have more trainings in the future. Maybe you get invited to something else to present, but it really matters that you thank your audience and connect. Now let's go back to the challenges we presented earlier. So first part, we have preparation issues. I'm going to talk about this part first. So here, people usually have jitters and anxiety. So how would you overcome that? Just breathe before, take a deep breath, and decompress after. Now, what do I mean by decompress? When you start, you always have that moment when you feel like, oh, it's almost gonna start. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. But after, you feel that pressure still. It doesn't come down the moment you end your presentation, your training. It doesn't stop immediately. So you need to find time to do that as well. You need to breathe in and breathe out as well. Okay. So all pressure is the same. It's air pressure, it's water pressure. The pressure you feel while presenting is the same. You prepare for the pressure and then you breathe or decompress after you experience that pressure. So it really helps. Next is a technical glitch would cause you to lose focus. So, because you prepared your program flow, it's easy for you to remember the last thing you said. What was I talking about when this technical glitch happened? What was I talking about when my mic suddenly wasn't turning on? What was I talking about when the video stopped and I can no longer play the video right now? Then maybe you can still carry on talking even if you had that technical difficulty. Or maybe you can ad lib with the audience first. Ask the audience around, okay, while we're preparing for the presentation or the projector to go back up again, maybe I can ask some of the audience, how are you doing right now? What have you learned so far? And once the issue, the technical glitch is fixed, then you can go back to presenting because you remembered the last thing you said. Now, next part is stuttering. Quite similar to jitters and anxiety, always remember to breathe, compose your thoughts. It's okay. Remember, it happens to the best of us, okay? So if you feel like you are not talking as you're not talking as fast as you'd want it to be. Like for example, you're stuttering because your mind processes your information faster than how your mouth would read the things out loud. Um, for example, I wrote here, preparation issues, breathe before and decompress after. Sometimes we have a tendency, we see that slide that we're presenting and we're like, so now addressing challenges, preparation issues, breathe before and decompress after. You didn't read through the slide because you're assuming that your audiences can read through the slide. While that's true, your audiences might be able to read the slide, you also need to be able to read it out loud for them so that their eyes can follow whatever it is that you're saying. Okay? So that's very important. And finally, body language. This is something I tend to do a lot. And I think you can see it because my video is on. I use my hands a lot. It helps me to feel less um, crowded. It's easy to look confident when you're taking up a little bit more space, when you're more open, when you're more, okay, this is what's happening, this is how my train of thought goes. So that's important. Body language, your posture, it will help you with your breathing and your mind conditioning. Sometimes people would go, okay, so for the next part, yeah, next part. So it has a very different effect compared to when you say, okay, for the next part, we're going to talk about this. So let it flow, be open, have fun, breathe in, breathe out. It's fine. You will be fine. And then next, let's move on to the next slide. We have cultural barriers. Now this time, if the crowd doesn't feel engaged, it's okay. You can ask them questions, you can do an icebreaker, or you can always remember, I'm presenting this because I am confident that I am delivering it well. So it doesn't matter if they feel like, oh, yeah, because sometimes we're our own worst critic. If we don't see external validation, we feel, maybe they're not interested in me. But you shouldn't think of that. You should think that I am interested enough in my topic to want to present this to you right now. I am interested enough that I want to train you right now. So even if you're not entirely engaged, I will keep carrying on. And if you have questions, you can ask them to me. So that's the mindset that we want to have. Next part. This is very important because this also happens to me a lot. Training language required is not my first language. Sometimes people have their mental blocks when this is happening because they can't remember the word. For example, addressing, addressing, addressing. Ano ba yung nagpapahirap sa akin? You can actually say your word out loud. Challenges. Ano ba yung challenge mo? Ayun. You can say it out loud in your native language, and you can read the room. Maybe one of your audience members actually knows the word and can help you translate so you can carry on with your thoughts. That's also part of audience interaction. So give yourself time to try to translate it mentally. If you're still having a hard time and you feel like you're pressured to say something, just say the word in your native language, and then maybe someone in the crowd can help you. Someone might be able to understand you. Then you can carry on with your presentation. Or if you don't remember it correct completely, then maybe it will be mentioned in the next part of your slide. You can carry on with your native word, the native language word, and then maybe in your next slide or your next bullet point, it's mentioned there. The native word I'm talking about was challenges. Then you already are in the same flow. Okay. So you just brought your audience attention back na, this is what we were stuck with earlier. Okay, this is the actual word that you are probably aware of. So that's one thing to do. That's one way to do it. And then stuttering and mental blocks, same as earlier. Just compose your thoughts, remember your script, your keywords at certain points, and then you should be good to go. Now, for our next slide, again, you know your presentation best. As I mentioned earlier, whether it's been presented in the past, it's been presented in a different way, probably. At that moment, only you know where you're taking this conversation next. So always remember that you're the best person to talk about whatever's being presented at that moment. So part 3, and this is my closing already. I'm pretty early for this conversation. Yeah. Okay, so let's close now with an impromptu speech activity. I'd like to see some volunteers. Let me check the volunteer chat. Okay. Oh, no one has volunteered yet. Okay, so let me just show you what we'll do. For our speech activity, really simple. I am blank, state your name, and I will talk about blank. Think of one topic, one word, and then answer it in 2 sentences. What is it, and why should I know about it? So it can be OSM related, it can be personal, up to you. So, any volunteers for now? If none, I'll call on maybe 3 volunteers from the crowd before we proceed. Volunteers? Ooh. No one's raising their hand, so I'll just call on people. I hope you're ready. Oh, okay. So let's have, I see. Sorry. Hi, Ponzi. I see you here. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, sorry.
Hello. No worries.
You,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you very much, Jikka, for giving me opportunity.
All right.
Like I
So
want.
go ahead and answer the thing.
I'm sorry, I haven't prepared anything to talk, but thank you very much for giving me opportunity, and I will share what I have about this experience.
Oh,
So I
just
am
answer the blank.
Ponciano. Yeah, I am
I am
Ponciano,
blank.
and yeah, I am Ponciano. You can call me Ponce, and I will talk about my experience as a trainer. Then
Okay.
OIM Guru with Open Map in Asia Pacific. What is why
Okay.
should I? Okay, continue to answer the
Yes.
next sentence. Okay, like as a trainer, it's like sometimes it's difficult to communicate and also to lead successful training. And the second one is like mm, sometimes it's difficult to inspire and also gain a lot of people to participate in your training. But the important thing is like uh, you need to prepare your presentation. It's like more interactive, and also like uh, it can be easy so that participant can understand what you share with them. And also especially like uh, for my experience in Timor Leste, in my country, like a lot of people, it's like difficult to adapt with new technology like platforms such as OpenStreetMap or especially new technology that come with a different way and different experience. And it's like it's compared with another country, it's quite difficult and very different. That's why I need to prepare uh, as best uh, uh, clear, so that uh, people that participate in my training can understand what I share with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one that I want to share is about what I have learned so far.
Mm.
Is like during the participating in this in as a trainer in OM Guru. One thing that I learned is how I can prepare myself to communicate with different people around the world, by online
Mm.
or by person. And the second one is how I can interact with different people that come with different working style and also different culture. Yeah, something like that. I think this is what that I want to share. And I
Oh.
apologize if it's not much with what you expect me to answer.
No, it's okay. No, it's good. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it. Actually, I have some good points about what you shared. So, what I noticed about how you presented your I am Ponciana and I will talk about blank. So, you shared two things actually. First is your experience in um as an OSM guru. And next is what you like about being an OSM guru. Technically, you presented two topics, and both topics, in what you said, you were able to provide. Remember the three C's I showed earlier? You provided context, you provided good content, and you ended with a closing. So that's good. So for your work in OSM, as an OSM guru, you shared about technology adaptation in Timor Leste. And then you next talked about your second topic, which is why you need to like why what you like about being an OSM guru or what you need to do. So you shared about you need to prepare and what you want to happen. You want to engage the community. You want to be able to train more people properly. I think that's the gist of what you said. So yeah, that's actually good. You got the three C's right. So hand for Bonsi. Great job. All right.
Thank you, thank
So
you.
good job. Next, let's have. I'll call on a couple more people. Sorry, Bernard, I'm gonna get a bit of your time. I think. Am I still on time? Oh wait, I'm actually early. Oh yeah, I'm actually early. Okay. Um. Thank you, Bernard. Okay, let's have. Who else is here? Can I have? Oh, hello, Walter. Walter Mayeko is here. Is it okay if I ask Walter to answer? I am blank and I will talk about blank. Give me one word and then expound it in two sentences. What is it and why should I know about it?
Please, will you repeat? I just joined in.
Oh, sorry. So we're in the impromptu speech activity session already. So when I call you, well, I just called you. Please answer what's on the screen. So I am blank and I will talk about blank. So just give me one word that you want to talk about, and then expound, add more detail in two sentences. So what is it, and why should people know about what it is that you're talking about? So yeah. Take it away.
Oh,
Anything. It can be personal, doesn't have to be purely OSM.
I am Walter. I will talk about academics.
Okay. Now expound. Why should we know about academics and what should we know about it?
Okay. I think why we should know about academics is because it holds the future to new knowledge through research, and why we should know about it is because we have to stay up to date. Problems are changing every day. If you don't research about them, if you don't advance in new knowledge, you will miss out on solution to the future problems.
Great. Okay, that's actually great. Very concise, and it also followed the context and why people should know about it. So it's more of the latter part of your content and closing. So you shared to people. If I could just go back to that slide. Mm, there. So you were able to present what is your topic, what made you want to present this topic, and what is the audience takeaway. And in sharing this and this part, you were able to create a body for your short speech. So that's great, actually. Congratulations! Yay! Very concise. I like it. Okay, let's go back. I'm sorry. Oops. Let's go back and ask another person. Let's have. Can we have Miko?
Okay. I'll try my best. Okay. So I am Nico and I will talk about my cats. So
Love
what
it.
so what is it? So I have I think more than 30 because one of my cats got pregnant. Uh and why you should know about it is because sometimes when you share something interesting about you, it actually breaks the ice when you're doing conversations. It piques interest, and that's why I brought about talking about my cats because I have nothing else to share anymore. Thank you, Jika.
I love it. To be fair, that's a good closing as well. In fairness, not to be fair, in fairness, that's a really good closing as well because it starts a conversation. Let's go back to that little script at the start. Sorry. Oops. There. You're able to add the thank you and connect. So people would want to approach you after you share that. And oh, what's the name of your cat? When did your cat get pregnant? So it opens up more conversations. And as I mentioned earlier, this slide, you know where you're taking this conversation next. So that's actually a good job. Congratulations. Oops. Always keep forwarding to the next slide. Who else? All right. So let's have Mm, hmm. Oops. Looking for someone to call on. Rua. Yes. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I am Roa Puka from Papua New Guinea, and I will be talking about the Pacific Engagement Visa that I recently learned about online. So, this is an Australian visa that grants permanent residency to Pacific Islanders. And the process is basically you go into you pre-register for a ballot, and the system randomly selects a quota from each participating Pacific Island countries. So for Papua New Guinea, we have a quota of 1,350 citizens of PNG to be granted this Pacific Engagement Visa, and there are services that the Australian government has set up to facilitate the migration to Australia. So it's a good opportunity for Pacific Islanders to permanently migrate to Australia. So anybody can give a shot if you're eligible with the criteria. Thank you.
That's amazing. All right. Aside from Ruwa sharing that, we also got to learn about this opportunity. Anyone from the Pacific Islanders here, you can go ahead and take a look at that. All right. So that's very clear. And in terms of how it was presented, you were also able to cover the context. You provided good content. And what I mean by good content is you were able to support it with the process. You were able to support it with numbers as well. Very nice. It's something that is this something you learned recently? Something you were interested in recently? And then you were able to close it with a thank you. So that's great. Congratulations. All right. Who's up for the challenge next? Ooh, we have. Oh, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Malinga, would you like to share? Try.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear.
Oh, nice. Clear and round. So, I'm Malinga. I will talk about RayShader R package. And RayShader R package is the package to help us to visualize 2D and 3D data visualization in R. So, especially as a data scientist and data visualizer, I use this RayShader package to demonstrate elevation data in R matrices. So that is very useful package because of the way we represent the data, elevation data is very quickly, because normally we use other software programs to the representation. So it is an open source thing. So as we all know about how powerful is open source resources, so it is very useful for our day-to-day data visualization activities. So thank you very much.
Great. Wonderful job. What I liked about it was, well, plus points because it was also OSM related and open source. You were able to mention the pros of what you were talking about, how it can help people, and you tied it with the last part of my slides earlier, which is there. What is the audience takeaway? And you were able to thank you and connect. So that's really good. Amazing.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
All right. So, am I taking too much time? I think I still have time, but maybe it's a good time for us to call on a last volunteer. Yeah, we have time now. All right. Let's call on our last volunteer. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer? Don't be shy. Wait, I saw. Ah, there. Yay. Ashok, hello. Go ahead.
Hello, Jikka.
Hi.
I am Ashok, and I will just talk about what I am currently doing. So I am currently working as a Palika program officer at the Janaki Gaon Palika, Janaki Rural Municipality of Kailari district of Western Nepal. And where I just talk about the PDRA means pre-disaster risk assessment tool, which is made by the World Food Program here. And I am working as the updating OSM dataset, which will be used in this tool as a background data layers. This tool is made for the flood focus area of the Karnali River, which yearly affected. Thank you.
Yay! Congratulations. Okay, what I also liked about that, Ashok, was you were able to give importance, like Malinga, give importance here at the body or context. What you were both able to do was you subdivided your topic as best as possible. Now, for Malinga, for Ashok, what he did was talk about what he is working on. So that's your general topic. And then you were able to give a location for your topic. You were able to give a certain action for your topic, and you're able to subdivide it and close it with an audience takeaway and a thank you and connect portion. So that's really good. So congratulations to our volunteers and thank you so much. I think it's about time that I hand this over. You are all wonderful and thank you. I hope this has helped you all. I would now like to pass it on to, oh, sorry, some key takeaways before we finally close. So we've been trying to wrap up everything. But yeah, first, common challenges can be due to preparation or cultural issues, but not to worry because number two, preparation, practice is always key. You can create a script. Practice, do not be afraid. That's very important. Do not be afraid. You know your presentation, your topic best, and you are the best person to train everyone in your room at that certain time. Okay, so just have fun, and that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you learned.
Thank you
All right.
very much, Jika. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ika.
Yeah. So I'll be passing the floor to Bernard. But while Bernard's setting up, you ready, Bernard? I'll be putting a feedback form for this session. So I hope that you can answer this feedback form as well, since this is our best way of saying thanks to our speakers, our trainers tonight, Jika and Bernard. So yes, they got out of the way to share this moment in time with us tonight. So please do answer the feedback form. Give an advice, say thank you, give feedback because, yeah, feedback is the best way we could improve ourselves as well. Okay, Bernard, I'll be passing the floor to you.
And can you share the hosting rights with me?
No, sorry, wait,
I'll leave
wait.
the meeting now.
I'm I'm finding the form. Let's do this. Okay, find it. Bernard is now a co-host. Can you try?
Yes, yes, I can share
Okay,
it
thank
now.
you.
Okay, I think everyone should be able to see my screen. Um, and just let me just start. Hi everyone. Thanks a lot for joining at this hour. And it's very unfortunate that I follow up the presentation after Jika. So everyone will be evaluating my presentation and how am I going to conduct this training. uh, I will also be excited to hear from you, Jika. How did I fare according to your approaches that you have shared? But I think I am addressing what you have shared earlier. So I'm Bernard Heng. I'm actually working with Asia Pacific Hub under Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, along with Miko. I'm the program associate. And one of the things that I would like to share today is really what Miro is and how Miro could support your work and our work. Um, so I don't want to give you all too much details right now. It's for some of you, it's a very new platform. So let's try to do this step by step. And the first is to look at my screen and follow through. After that, I will hand over, I'll give you all a link. You all can start to participate in it and you'll get what I mean. So first things first. Miro is actually an online browser platform where anyone can access from anywhere as long as you have a browser. You don't have to install a program, you don't have to install an app, and that's what makes Miro very exciting. Like OpenStreetMap, like Tasking Manager, like ID Editor, it's a very accessible platform that can be used from anywhere. And the thing about Miro, right, is essentially this what they call whiteboarding, whiteboard platform, where it's really for you to zoom in, zoom out, to do anything everywhere, to put sticky notes, to write down pointers, to scribble, etc. And one of the first things that you have to learn how to use is how to use Miro. Very simple for most of us. If you look at this, press spacebar, left click to move it around. Alternatively, you can right click and move it around. Another thing that you have to know, again, very intuitive, is to zoom in and out using your mouse scrolling wheel. With that, simple. That is really the basics that you need to join Miro. I'm going to share the link with everyone right now. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to copy the bot link. I'm going to put on chat. So I would like everyone to join this Miro app from now. And you can focus on the Miro platform already. Just listen to my voice as I guide you all through using Miro. I'm starting to see people joining in. So far we have 1, 2. There should be about 30 participants. So I hope to see about 25. The good thing about what I'm doing right now is that by giving you this link, you don't have to create an account. You don't have to have a Google account, a Facebook account, a Miro account. You can really just join in immediately, participate, and contribute to whatever I want to do with you all. And that's what's exciting for me. I think accessibility is the keyword over here. So far, we only have 10 people. I'm going to give you all about 5 more minutes. Feel free to let me know right now if you have any issues joining. Is there any challenges? Any questions? More and more people are streaming in. Okay, as you stream in, I'm going to take the next 2 minutes to explain to you a bit more about Miro. So again, like I said, Miro is essentially an online virtual whiteboard. And the thing about whiteboards is it's this free and open space for you to scribble anything that you want, right? So a lot of design platform studios, for example, a lot of offices and the professions that deals with graphics likes to use Miro because it allows us to collaboratively come together to talk about the things on Miro itself, talk about the graphics, talk about the design. And why is this relevant to us, OpenStreetMap, and the work that you're doing, for example, with maps? Because maps are a form of graphics. And later on, you'll start to see, this is why we are looking at Miro right now. Okay, I have about 15 people already. I'm not going to take too long on this. I'm going to start. And as you try to join, you will be able to follow through. If you're not able to join, just look at my screen. It's the same experience, I guess. Of course, if you have any issues, write on chat. If I can address it, I'll address it. Miko is also on standby to address any difficulties that you might have in joining Miro. Okay, so everyone, you'll start to see. So when I go into presentation mode, I go to the slides, right? What I can do is to bring everyone to me first, and everyone will start to look at what I'm looking at. So as the host, as the leader of this Miro board itself, it's very easy for me to manage what people are looking at and help them focus on the things that I want them to discuss on. So in this case, we have already went through the basics, how to move around, how to zoom in and out. So let's look at the next board itself. So I want everyone to experience using Miro. So you see the sticky notes on the left. I want each of you to left click on it, drag it to the board over here. And on the board, you'll see 2 different axes. Are you unsure of Miro's value? Are you excited about Miro's value? Are you already familiar with Miro? Or are you not familiar with Miro? I want you to click on the sticky notes and type out your names. Just your name is fine, and put it wherever you feel that you are the most is the most relevant for you. People are starting to use it. I see a lot on the upper right quadrant. There's about 12 people, that's less than half of the current participants in the Google Meet itself. So if you still cannot join, I already pinned it on the chat. I'm going to share it again. Please join here to participate with us in learning about Miro. Okay. Any more? Any more? Let me drag everyone to me again. So, okay, maybe there are a couple of participants still trying to figure out. So why not look at my screen right now? Come back to the Google Meet and see what I do. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm zooming in and I'm dragging the sticky note over to the board using my left mouse button. And then I'm zooming out again because I need to know what the different axes are. As the trainer, I have to be very familiar with Miro. I actually placed my sticky note here already, but I'm also very excited about Miro because Miro is a very accessible platform for me and my colleagues to use to help work with people on the ground in a collaborative manner. So I'm going to write my name here. So there it is. It's actually very simple. Someone is already learning about the comments already, which works too. I'll let Malinga add to the last point, and then I'll move on to the next segment. Okay. So I'm going to bring everyone to me again, and we're going to focus on the third slide. So on the third slide, y'all have already experienced there is sticky notes, which is what you already used just now. There are also comments. So on the left quick access bar, you'll find that there's this icon, and that icon itself, it's your comments. So the key difference is that comments is like a thread. And if you look at here, I can respond to the comments. I can add further details and elaborate. It's almost like a thread. But sticky notes are different. Sticky notes are standalone by itself. And what's helpful about sticky notes is that it allows you to drag around. People can see it immediately. They know what are you talking about. And it's very easy for you to start grouping things around to understand, oh, this is what they're discussing about. So that's this first 3 slides is really about how are you going to navigate that Miro. So these are the basics that you need to know to follow through the next few content that I'll be introducing. Okay, so let's go back to why Miro. So again, as mentioned before, Miro, I'm going to bring everyone to me again in case you were lost somewhere. So Miro is actually a very interactive platform. It allows us to, not just like what I'm doing right now, I'm presenting to you the different content itself, but at the same time, I'm also allowing my participants to engage with me, to interact with my content directly. And more importantly, Miro also has a lot of functions that can support my presentation, including timers. So right now, for the next session, for example, like I want to keep my presentation to merely 2 minutes. So I will click 2 minutes, no music, and it will indicate the amount of time I have left to present the next slide. And the next slide is really about why Miro and open mapping. So the thing about the maps and other graphics is that it's important that we zoom in and out to understand the geospatial content at different levels. We want to go down to the micro level to understand, like, hey, in this district over here, for example, in Nai Mata, the roads are a problem, for example. I also want to zoom out and talk about, like, hey, actually the area over here, the west of this region is extremely difficult map. Let's prioritize that first because it's the most urgent. And you cannot do that on Google Slides. You cannot stop your presentation halfway, zoom in into the map, And more importantly, your participants, whoever you're presenting to, cannot put a sticky note there and tell you you are wrong. So Miro allows you that kind of flexibility. I am already presenting to you. You are looking at what I'm showing, but at the same time, you also can immediately drop pointers and comments on the slide itself. And I know that now I'm within my 2 minutes time, and I'll move on to the next slide. Again, why Miro? Why Miro? I'm gonna drag everyone to me again. So if you look at my screen actually on Google Meet, right, you see that here I know how many people are following me. So right now it's about 13, but I know that in total there are about 15 people. And the reason why people are like losing track of me is because you are moving your screen alone. So the moment you move your screen, it disconnects from my screen and you are not following exactly what I'm saying. So every time I want to go to a new slide, I'll bring everyone to me so that they know what I'm talking about. Okay, so for Miro type, why Miro, right? Miro, it's has a huge library of templates that you can already use already. And over here, there are a lot of different pre-developed templates, not just by Miro itself, but also by the community. Some of them, it's like, I want to conduct a workshop to brainstorm new ideas, or I want to consult local stakeholders on what I can, what this map is about, what are the priority areas that I need to start working on, for example. Maybe I want to discuss timelines with my manager and with the local government. So when should I start? When is the monsoon season start? And when should I avoid my field mapping, for example? And if you look at my screen right now on Google Meet, so a little jump back and forth, right? You see the amount of templates that I have on Miro itself. There are meetings and workshops, there are brainstorms and ideation. So many templates that I can already use. Let's say I want to go to mapping and diagramming. I want to look at the workflow for my project to understand like what goes to what, right? So I can already, for example, create a flow chart over here, and Miro will give you a quick breakdown of like, hey, this flow chart is used this way, for example. And let's say these basic pre-developed templates don't really fit you, and you find that I'm looking for something much, much more specific. So why not you just go to community templates? So these are templates that are done up by the community and they're sharing it with Miro's library so that anyone and everyone can use. It goes from business mind mapping to like even fun games, fun icebreaker games that you can have with your team before starting. So why Miro? Because there's a lot of templates that you can already use. You don't have to think about how am I going to design the workshop? What's the framework? What's the color I'm going to use? What about the font? All you need to do is to click on the template, drag and drop. Because at the end of the day, what is important is how you execute the workshop and what kind of feedback are you going to get. And it's not so much all of this that is important if someone out there has already done it for you. Okay, so I'm going to bring everyone to me. I'm going to add 1 more minute. Let's make it a 3-minute exercise. Let me go with count flow, and I'm going to start a session. And I want everyone to take what I just showed just now and choose a template that you like and drag and drop into this box over here. Let's say, for example, I heard that someone is working with WFP on updating OSM. So maybe one of the questions that you want to ask yourself is, how can I know what WFP is prioritizing right now? How can I know what are the governments prioritizing right now? And how can I work with them to identify like the first few things that I want to map out and update on OSM? So maybe there's a template already available on the Miro's library that you can already start to use. So I see that Malinga is already adding. So maybe, what about the rest? Like, are there any templates that you are excited about? Are you looking through that huge library? Feel free to stop me at any time to ask if you have any questions, be it on the chat or just unmuting yourself and scolding Bernard for being too fast, for example. Is the library so exciting? Someone has OKR planning. Let's see who is it. Whoa. Who is this? Let me go to history. I want to
I
see.
think that's me.
Jikka. Yeah, it's a very detailed step-by-step process, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of yours, and I'm going to reduce the size.
Okay, thank you. I got overwhelmed when I saw it. I was like, oh, it's too big. Wait.
That's fine. Yeah, feel free to. Jasmine also selected OKR, so we have two people that is already excited about the OKR. What about the rest? What about the rest? I only see three people adding right now: Jasmine, Jikka, and Malinga. You have only 20 seconds left. I'm gonna give you all 1 more minute, just so that you can explore the template section a bit more. See Ponciano also adding something similar to what Malinga has added. Okay, there's only like 15 seconds more. Feel free to try yourself after this session. The board will still be open to everyone. Even if I close off this meeting, you can always come back to the same board and to play around with what Miro has for you. This customers, let's see. Before I go on to the next one, I just want to know who's this. No, I don't know who's this. Okay, I'm gonna bring everyone back. I hope that was a very fun session for you to see what the Miro can offer you in terms of like pre-developed templates already. So back to me. No, everyone is leaving me. Okay, I'm bringing back everyone to me again. It's very obvious when I see people leaving my screen. So what are you going to use Miro for? Like, for example, for our gurus that are working with us, that are supporting your local open mapping initiatives. For example, when it comes to training on open mapping with Miro, it's about identifying all of the different, taking all of the different screenshots, walking through them one by one, breaking it down, and making sure that at every point of time they can like feedback. For example, I could put a sticky note here. I don't know what this means, and the trainer could start to elaborate. Oh, this is actually the features, the attributes that we are adding to the features on OSM, for example. And it's a very like simple closed off sandbox for us to discuss with our participants, discuss with our trainees, like, hey, this is the process. At any point of time, do you have any questions? Add it in. Because I know that sometimes not everyone is excited about writing on the chat or excited about unmuting themselves and sharing some of their concerns and questions. So the second thing, like I mentioned before, it's Miro offers you a very interactive platform to consult your participants. Let's say I'm working with Dhaka stakeholders to understand where the different slum locations are in Dhaka cities. And I need to know exactly where they are. And so far, I've identified a few along with them, but there are still a couple of confusing areas. So it's very simple. If you look at my screen, so go back to Google Meets, see what I'm doing here. I am typing, let's say, informal settlement A. Okay, so let's say this is the name. Let me increase the font size a bit, and that's not enough. Like, so where is it? Where's the boundaries? What are you talking about? And one of the exciting ways that we can use Miro is, you see, again, back on the Google Meets, you see the pen button on the left of your screen, the quick access bar, the one that looks like a pen/pencil. I can work with them to start drawing. No, then I'll say it's too thick. Maybe I'll go with something thinner. And I can start to do this. I can say that actually all of this belongs to informal settlement A. So it doesn't have to be very exact because it's clear from the physical boundaries that those are the boundaries. And with this, then I already know that this is informal settlement A, that's the boundary. And it's very quick and easy, very interactive way for me to work with my stakeholders to better understand Dhaka City. Another way we can work with Miro, as some of you have realized in the template exercise, is that we can start workshopping with our participants. Like, hey, I know we need to map your region because there's a cyclone coming in already. But where do I start? I do not have the resources to conduct a mapping of every single location in your district right now in the next 24 hours. So where is the areas that I should prioritize in that has the highest impact but the lowest effort, for example? And where are the areas that has the highest effort needed and the lowest impact? Those are areas that I'll avoid, for example. So these are just some of the examples that Miro could support your work with the local stakeholders, your work as a guru, your work in open mapping, and of course, outside of open mapping, you'll find that Miro offers you a lot of different ways to work with your colleagues, your bosses, and your clients, for example. Again, I'm going to pull everyone back. I'm moving on to the next session. So how to present on Miro? There's a function where it allows you to present on Miro just like a slide. So right now, it brought me to the beginning. Wait, I'm going to drag everyone. Yes. Okay. So how to present on Miro? The slides are a bit strange. Okay, so by clicking on the presentation, I'm forcing everyone into essentially Google Slide presentation mode where I need everyone to just focus on what I'm talking about. Just listen to me, follow through my different content. And yeah, some of you are starting to find that there are reaction buttons. So it's again, Miro is a very interactive platform for you and your participants. And so, for example, Miro, if you look at the screen, on the very top right button, there is the present button. So clicking on the present button will give you access to this and a whole host of different functions at the bottom. And this functions allows you to, for example, ask people to vote. I can get everyone to vote whether or not should we go with option A or option B. I can set out a timer so that everyone can just sit quietly and think about what kind of questions they have, for example. And Miro, yes, Vijay. I guess that's an accidental hand raising. Okay, just bear with me. Last couple of slides, and I'm done, and I can open up the floor to further Q&A. So I'm going to pull everyone back to me again. I'm losing people by the minute. So again, Miko mentioned that we have a paid subscription for Miro where our gurus can have access to support their not only their training, for example, but also their mapping efforts, how to consult and work with local stakeholders to prioritize mapping of certain areas, for example. And the request for workflow is here. Again, after this meeting, click on the link. It will be open literally forever. So come in to try and play around with what Miro can offer you. At the same time, if you ever want to know what is the workflow, you also can look through this last slide, for example. And when it comes to the Miro, right, groups will have to request for Miro bot through the activity form. Just lay out the reasons why you think that a Miro bot is necessary for the activity, how you're going to use it, what are you going to achieve, and what you hope to get out of it in using a Miro bot in your session. The guru administrator will help create a Miro bot for the guru. In this case, we'll create, for example, a guest link where you could access like what you're really doing right now. And you also can further share this guest link to your future participants. All of them can enter. You also can enter without creating a Miro account. If you want to, it's good. It's possible, and it's also helpful if you want to use it for your own purposes. But the copy bot link, the link that I shared with you on the slide, for example, it's easy. It's easier to share with our participants, our local stakeholders, because they don't need to create an account. Not everyone is very familiar with creating new accounts with that already have access to Google, for example. And that's all actually. So you can see if I zoom out like this, it's Miro. It allows you to zoom out to the entire lesson itself. It allows you to zoom into the details also. And I find that very important for maps, especially when we are urgently mapping for disasters, for example. So that's all. Any questions? Feel free to type on the chat also. And maybe if you're familiar, you can already put a sticky note here and ask me a question on Miro. And if not, feel free to email me and I can answer any questions you have on Miro if needed. And yes, Jyotish.
Hi, Bernard. I'm Jolish. I have a question. Can
Yes.
I do video calls in Miro?
No. So like what I'm doing now, so I'm having a Google Meet and Miro at the same time. It's the easiest. Yeah, it's unfortunately not possible to have video calls on Miro right now.
Okay. Can I do voice?
Sorry?
Can I talk through Miro?
I wouldn't recommend it. Yes. Okay, it's not possible. I don't think it's possible, and I wouldn't recommend it. Because Miro really it's a whiteboarding platform. It's not able to handle. It does not have all of the different functions for example, meetings.
Okay. I think about I want to present something. So this whiteboard is perfect for that. So I think like that. That's why I asked.
Sorry,
Okay. Thank you.
I didn't catch the question.
I want to present some ideas. So if those are present in Miro, that will be perfect for me.
If you want to present some idea, is that what you're saying?
Some
Sorry.
idea like a brainstorming.
Yes. But so brainstorming participants can already interact with you like what some of the participants did just now. But again, you need the Google Meet or Zoom in the background so that the voice is carried over.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
No problem.
What I would recommend here is that I think Miro has a function to record if you are going to do something, or a different app on your desktop could do that. You can walk them through your whiteboard, what they need to put, what sticky note, etc., and then you can send the link so that it could also be asynchronous. But yeah, I feel one way or another, it's best if everyone's all together when you're doing the Miro.
Mm.
Thank you, Jyotish.
If there are no more questions, I'll hand it over to you, Miko.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bernard, and thank you, Jika, for this very interactive session. So this, like, despite all the other tech trainings we're having with the Open Mapping Guru trainings, like this, I think stands out because it's very interactive. And one thing before we go, I'm going to just share some announcement for everyone. So we're opening up. So before I proceed, we're opening up a new batch of Open Mapping Guru. So recruitment will start pretty much by mid-June to or July. So if you have anyone you would like to nominate, be part of the network, and be part of the Open Mapping Guru Fellowship, feel free to wait. Feel free to follow the Open Mapping Hub Asia Pacific or the Hot OSM Facebook page, LinkedIn pages, etc. We'll be announcing it there. So for those new ones, be prepared for the exam. Most of the gurus here passed it with flying colors, so it would be very, very easy. But the real work we have in store for you and for the Open Mapping Gurus is the mapping, the training, and the validation. That's where your skills really are improved on or are developed. So some quick announcements before we move forward. So we do have one more training this week for tomorrow. It's OpenStreetMap Power Up, Introduction to JOSM Plugin. So if you're part of the Climate Change Challenge, this is a good webinar for you since Sushma, our guru for tomorrow, will be doing some training skills, some hands-on, and answering your questions so that you can improve on your mapping skills in the next few weeks. So it's the same way that you registered how you got here. Just make sure to click on Introduction to JOSM Plugins and we'll add you to the calendar invite. Yes, Jyotish, before I proceed.
Is this session about the how to make the plugins or how to use the plugins?
Can you repeat that? How
Uh,
to?
Make these plugins or create plugins or how to use these plugins?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. So Joshua will be introducing you to JOSM, introducing you how to install the plugins, connecting your OSM account to JOSM. So it's a very, like for power mappers, this is a very useful tool for that. Okay, so please do sign up. It's for tomorrow. It's going to also be recorded. So all our trainings are being recorded. So if you talked or volunteered from Jikka, please feel free to know that you will be part of the YouTube page of the Open. No, just kidding. Yeah, we'll be sharing the videos and recordings. All of these trainings are available in YouTube. Just look for Open Mapping Hub Asia Pacific. The trainings that we have, technical trainings we had, are there already. But most of the trainings are still in the OSM Wiki. We're still trying to import it one by one. So please do look for it. So the recordings are all here. I'll be also sharing the slides that Jikka shared in the wiki page. We also have some activations ongoing right now, one in Afghanistan. Feel free to jump into MapSwipe and the tasking manager. If you have some free time, feel free to map and look for the keywords Afghanistan, Papua New Guinea, and Mount Kanlaon eruption. We need more mappers to cover map swipe areas and tasking manager areas. So we're mapping buildings in these areas. Please do so if you have the free time over the weekend. Thank you. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to email us at openmappinghub.at@hotosm.org. I think that's it for tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Have a very, very fruitful day and see you soon. Very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye
Thanks a lot.
bye. Thank you all.
Bye bye. Thanks, everybody.